In this channel, we bring you the freshest discussions taking place in Japan's online community.
The U.S. gross domestic product for 2023 increased by 6.3% compared to the previous year on a nominal basis, surpassing China's growth of 4.6%. The U.S. economy has successfully overcome the challenges of the pandemic, in a better state than the Chinese economy.
Is China experiencing an economic collapse? The economy is not collapsing. There's a collapse in the real estate bubble and economic stagnation. China is collapsing. In the case of China, their GDP is based on deception. In reality, it's worse. However, China will continue to face pressure from the US. One of America's greatest strengths is its ability to assimilate people of various races as immigrants, fostering competition among them. However, long-standing American citizens, especially since the country's independence, are increasingly intolerant of losing their established privileges to immigrants. This discontent is believed to contribute to the popularity of figures like Trump. Well, it's challenging to compete against a country that attracts talented individuals from all over the world as immigrants. Hillary's prediction that China would become the poorest country seems accurate. Who's earning from building those empty skyscrapers in China? If the real estate market collapses, it's game over. Advantage America. What's the actual GDP of China? Half? 30% less? Probably around 1/3. I think it's even more. After all, there are 10 cities in China similar to Tokyo. With that, the reported GDP seems unrealistic. When America feels threatened, it often uses political power to crush its opponents. Occasionally, it would be interesting to see them engage in a fair economic war. This slowdown is entirely China's fault. Zero COVID policy, unnecessary threats to neighboring countries, uncontrollable bubbles during the transition from secondary to tertiary industries, delayed population control. All political blunders. The US isn't to blame. China self-destructed. As mentioned in the article, post-COVID recovery boosted America, while China, due to its own mistakes, is lagging and losing ground to the US. America's continuous competition suggests that inflation won't stop anytime soon. I invest in US stocks, but I wouldn't touch Chinese stocks even if they were dead. Honestly, as a Japanese, I'm relieved that China, under Xi Jinping's leadership, is self-destructing. During Deng Xiaoping and Hu Jintao's era, everyone believed that China would become the world's #1. It seems like America is also struggling with the rise of Trump. China is finally experiencing population decline. With a growing population, a country can increase its GDP easily by building and selling apartments. But with a declining population, construction becomes futile when there are no buyers. It was evident that the real estate bubble would burst sooner or later. Considering how absurd it was, similar to a pyramid scheme, China picked a fight with the US too soon. Population decline has already begun, so the longer it takes, the more unfavorable it becomes. The percentage of dollars in global foreign exchange reserves has decreased from 85% in its prime to 59%. The share of the US GDP in the global GDP has also dropped from 40% to 25%. The US is already in decline. In the future, America will face deteriorating security and economic decline due to illegal immigration. Even if Trump returns as president, rebuilding won't be easy. Just deport the illegal immigrants. In the long run, it seems that competitive societies are stronger. It may be challenging to live in such societies, but China has a society with a significant gap between urban and rural areas. It's much better to have competition than to be discriminated against based on birth. The problem in China lies in the government's disregard for market demand, leading to excessive construction of housing. The root cause is the government's tendency to ignore the market. If something doesn't sell, they resort to repression and manipulation to artificially create demand. China had the opportunity to become a global leader if it followed policies that didn't anger the US, such as in the cases of Xinjiang and Taiwan. This also applies to resource-rich Russia. Countries with dictators are doomed. Well, in China, it's normal for a job recommended until yesterday to be prohibited today.
Did you find this video interesting? We'll keep bringing you fun topics from Japan's online community. Please subscribe to the channel and drop some comments.